So the skin is made up of modified teeth, and they're aligned like tiles on a roof. So they're very streamlined this way, but if you brush it this way, it's almost like sandpaper. Nurse sharks also have 5 gill slits, and that varies with the species. So different shark species have different number of gill slits. Some have 6, some have 7, most of them have 5. And nurse sharks also have 5. Then what I also do at the beginning is just to look at any trauma, visible trauma or parasites. There is a puncture wound up here in the head. Here you can see there's like a little bit of brain coming out. This shark was seized by our enforcement team last year in December. It was also seized with a lot of parrotfish, lobster, conch. So it was a spear fisherman poaching the shark because they're protected in Cayman, so they're not allowed to be killed in any form or harmed or harassed. So this little baby was definitely killed by a spear gun. So that's the hole at the front. And the next step is to just measure the length. And you can, if you have a pencil with your pen, you can write that down on your data sheet too. So we are starting at the tip of the snout, and then we'll go all the way. And then pre-caudal length, that's the PCL on your data sheet. That's before the caudal fin, the tail fin starts. That's one measurement for shark species. And in our case, it is 83 centimeters. And then we got the total length, which is 1 meter and 18. I don't know if you had the time to read the nurse shark specific information on there. Maybe you can have a look what the size and maturity is, and let me know if this is an adult or a immature shark. Immature. Yes, it's immature. It's still a baby. Yeah, what's your question?
I have a question. Does that shark have a backbone?
A backbone? It has a, yes, they have a cartilaginous skeleton. So like fish, normal reef fish on the reef, they have bony skeleton. A shark has a cartilaginous skeleton. That's like the stuff that your nose and the bendy stuff that your ears and nose are made out of, yeah? So that's why they're very vulnerable when you take them out of the water, because they don't have any structure to support them, and they can get squished by their own weight because of the gravity. So do you want to come here and have a look if it's a female or male? So we have to turn it around. It's not going to bite you. You don't have to if you don't want to. Do you want to check it out? Come on this side. Oh, actually, I'm going to turn it over for this for you. So what are you going to look at? You're going to look at the pelvic fins, and then what do you see? Do you see these guys?
That's a male baby.
Yes, those are claspers. And in baby sharks, they are so small that you don't even see them because the pelvic fins are so big, they hide them. But in mature sharks, these claspers will go get really, really long. So even from far, from the side, you will see these claspers. There are little claspers there, so it's a male. Okay, next step is I'm gonna cut it open and just have a look at the organs. I'm gonna show you, if you want, the different organs, and one of the things is we're gonna have a look at if we can see what it ate last in the stomach, because that will tell us about their diet, and that's also very important to know what local species are feeding on. In your info sheet you will find they're eating crustaceans most of the time, like in the Caribbean they're eating lobster and conch, like really nice diet. They're really small, and you see a microscopic image of the teeth on your, do you see it? They're tiny little teeth.
You see them?
So they crack the shell with their strong bite, and then they suck out the conch and the flesh of a lobster.
Is that the nose right beside the teeth? The nose that they breathe in?
This one? Yeah, so here is the nose, the nostrils, and these little things are baubles. They're used to help them find the prey. Okay, cool. The nurse sharks is also special because nurse sharks don't have to swim. Most shark species have to swim to breathe, The nurse shark is one of the few species that don't have to swim. They can lie on the bottom and just gulp the water over their gills. And they also have a special mechanism. It's a spiracle. You can see a little tiny hole behind the eye. That's part of the respiratory system. And the way they use them like straws, kind of. So the water will help them to aerate the eyes and the gills. Let's cut it open and see what we will find in there. 2 meter. No, it's actually fine. It's a little bit frozen still for your comfort. So frozen. Yeah, so this is the liver, and it's huge, and it has 2 lobes. As you can see, is the largest organ of the shark, and that has a purpose. So the sharks are fish, but they are different to other reef fish. Fish have a swim bladder, and that's what they use to hold the buoyancy in the water. And for sharks, they don't have a swim. They have this large oily liver to give them more buoyancy, because fat obviously helps them with the buoyancy in the water. The squalene in there was used in the past, and maybe sometimes now still, for like cosmetic products, for pharmaceutical products, and that was one of the reasons why sharks in the past were hunted so much, because of that squalene. If you are looking into creams and lipsticks and stuff like that, have a look that now the synthetic one from plants is used squalane, so with an A instead of an E. But have a look that there is squalane on it and not squalene, because the squalene will be from sharks and the squalane will be from plants. Okay, then let's get the stomach out. Okay, so there's also, this is the entire tract. So there's also, because it's a male, we have testes, and these are these guys. Hang on, I'll just attach them. So these are the testes that then lead to the claspers and produce sperm when it's mating time, or when it's large enough, when it's sexually mature. The kidneys you find them here on the top. I'm not gonna take them out. They're usually mushy anyways by the time you get them out, but they are lying on the back of the entire track. And then this is the spleen and the intestine and the gallbladder. I can leave that on. The gallbladder is down here. It's just a little lobe like this. And then you have the spleen up here. And then the rest is just the upper intestine and the lower intestine. It looks really full, so I hope it's not just water. And we actually see any items in here. Okay, so with the stomach content, we measure the volume and the items that we find in it. So since we know this is 450, can you write down 450 by the volume of the stomach?
Yes.
So that's the known volume that we have, 450 milliliters. And when we then put the stomach content into it, we subtract the final volume minus the 450, the known volume, and then we know how much was in the stomach. Yeah, that was in the stomach, and then the intestine comes now. It looks like it's just, I don't know, seagrass and algae. And they're not vegetarian, they're just sucking that in with all the other stuff. There's also the spinal valve. You can see all the different layers. Yeah. I mean, if anybody wants to come closer, you're welcome to. I'm not keeping you away. It's just disgusting, but yeah, you can come.
Come on.
Yeah, sure, come here. Have a look at the intestine. You see the different, it's the spiral valve, and it has all these different layers. Where the food goes through, so the absorbent surface is increased. It's in many animals like this. You see that? And then out comes the poop. That's how it happens. Yeah, it just looks like it's digested material. Sometimes there's, especially with the babies, because they're eating all these little crabs and stuff like that, there's not much left by the time you would have to be really lucky when you have a dead one that there is anything that is not digested, because it just digests so quickly because of the size of the prey item. Nurse sharks also have a third eyelid, so they have the normal eyelid like we do, but they also have one that comes from the bottom up, and that's called nictitating membrane, and that is just to protect the eye because it is a predator, and predators are relying on their eyes the most, a lot.
He's going to read this for us.
All right. That's a 600. You don't see it, but that's 600 and a little bit. So I would say 625.
Yeah,
Because
a
it's
little
in the
bit
middle?
less. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a little less on this one. Because that would be 650.
Oh, so-
and it's just shy of halfway.
Maybe
615, 620?
Okay. The final volume would be 620, and then we'll just divide the 450 minus the 620, and then we have our volume.
Perfect.
Okay, and I would say there is nothing but food in this beaker, so no prey items identified for this one. We come now to like the nutritional and the health status of the animal. On the liver you can tell whether a shark is healthy or not. If the liver is nice and pink, and obviously it's been frozen for a while, but it has pink edges, so that's a good sign. You want to have it big, large, squishy with loads of fat inside, which does that liver have, and know that shark was well fed. The smaller the kidney becomes, we know it hasn't eaten in a while, because this is the fat reserve of a shark. It doesn't have any other fat storage in the body, so when it doesn't eat, it will use that to prolong its life and use that nutrition up, but then eventually it will get smaller and smaller, and eventually it will turn black. I think that was everything. I mean, we can also have a look at the heart if you're interested. Other than that, I'm open for questions if you have any, or if you want to see anything specific. I can't really look at the brain just because it usually doesn't survive the freezing process. Only when you have a fresh shark and you immediately attend to it, you might be able to preserve the brain of a shark. Yeah, that's the only thing I can't look at for you. Alrighty, that's the heart. Can you see it? Sorry, you can also come closer if you want to. It's a that tube open for me? I'm just gonna take a film clip for DNA sample.
Here, I can undo the top if you need.
Sorry. I didn't realize you did. Okay, let me get that. So when we do a DNA sample from sharks, we just take a fin clip and then preserve it in ethanol or in other preservative solutions, depending on what needs to be done. And yeah, just close it for us. Perfect. Okay, fin clip, muscle liver.
I can grab it from you if you need to.
Actually, I'm going to do the liver into one of these. So sometimes we just take samples in case, because the more we can figure out, the better. This is a healthy shark, so I'm going to keep the liver of a healthy shark, so we can compare it with an unhealthy shark in the future. Yeah, that's the nicotinating membrane, the white stuff down there. Yeah.
Could have just left it alone.
You can just write it down.